Alright, Shalom. First of all, I just want to start this lesson off by giving all the praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Honors to other brothers who are still fervently preaching the word in sincerity and in faith. Shalom to all the Akwath and all the members of the hopeful elect who are scattered amongst these other nations and look like these other nations, aka the Israelite foreigners. Now this lesson is going to be based on 5 Valley Stream businesses that were damaged in a fire. So through the Spirit, I'm going to read this article, get some precepts, and Lord's will, you're edified. It says 5 businesses were affected by a fire in Valley Stream on Rockaway Avenue Sunday evening. Fire officials say the fire started in the Mr. D Cut barbershop, where flames and smoke spread to the Anais Hair and Beauty Hair Salon and Via Kuma Pizzeria, which faced major smoke damage. Other businesses faced damage as well. Fire officials say everyone, including the tenants who live upstairs, got out safely. Said, "I'm so numb that I don't know what to feel right now," said Jasenia Garcia, wife of the barbershop owner. "I have no words right now." Fire officials got the call just before 5:30 p.m. 100 firefighters from at least 8 different departments showed up to help fight the flames. They put it out in about 45 minutes, but the damage was already done. Everything was just blown up in flames really, really bad, Garcia said. "It's very, very devastating because we've been here for a very, very long time. This was our home. This was everything to us, and I didn't expect the severity of how bad things would be." Garcia says fire officials told her the fire started in a back office of their barbershop. She says they believe it was an electrical fire. Their business has been in the area for over 15 years, and loyal customers stopped by to show their support. It's heartbreaking, said Luis Jimenez. Says, "All my boys work over here. They're hardworking. All of a sudden, we got the call and the whole neighborhood just moved to see what's happening. I feel bad for them." Fire officials say there were no smoke detectors in the building. 2 civilians and 1 fire chief were treated for smoke inhalation, but there were no other injuries. The business and apartments were boarded up Sunday night to protect them. Yeah, so this is what the Lord has been doing, bringing a lot of fiery destruction to different businesses. Barbershops, nail salons, pizzerias, bars, restaurants. This is something that's been happening for a while now. Especially when you have these businesses that are so close together. If the fire is severe enough, it'll basically just spread to the building right next to it, and then it'll spread further and further. And this is just yet another example of the Lord bringing destruction upon America. Because like I said, there have been many incidents where these rows of businesses get destroyed in a fire. And these businesses, they'll have been around for 10, 15, 20 plus years, and now they're gone. And it's very sad for all the people who, first of all, own that business. You know, it's sad for the people who live above that business, which is usually the owners. And it's sad for all the people who've been going there for so long, doing business there. But see, the men of the Lord, starting of course with the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, have been saying that the Lord is destroying this place. He's destroying America, particularly from the inside out. That's why all of these businesses, these churches are getting destroyed. People's homes are getting burned down or destroyed. Getting burned down by these fires or getting destroyed by these storms and tempests. And things are just going to get a whole lot worse and a lot more people are going to be affected. Psalms 9 and 16. The Lord Yahweh is known by the judgment which he executeth. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hands. Hegion Selah. Yeah, and all the damage that was done as a result of that fire, that was the will of the Lord. That was his judgment. And there's nothing that could have been done to prevent that. Once the Lord sets something in motion, it's going to keep going until it's fulfilled to the extent that he wanted it to be. Isaiah 29 and 6, thou shalt be visited of the Lord Yahweh of hosts with thunder, and with earthquake, and great noise, with storm and tempest, and the flame of devouring fire. And like I said, recently, there's been a lot of different businesses that have just either burned down completely or were severely damaged by a fire. And given the state of the economy, a lot of these people, these are like small business owners. They don't have the finances to rebuild. So their business could have been around for, 50 years. And now it's gone. It takes you so long to build up a business and, get, a loyal customer base that always comes back. People start bringing their kids there. They bring their friends there, other family members there. Like, it really becomes a community. And then, like, overnight, the Lord can just wipe it out. And this is why you're supposed to fear the Lord. And this is also why you're not supposed to try to really establish anything here. Because the Lord is going to destroy this place. You put all your time and all your effort into building up something just for the Lord to turn around and destroy it. And the men of the Lord, they keep telling people and warning people to stop trying to get comfortable here. Stop trying to settle down here. But nobody wants to listen. And so they're going to continue to experience these kind of losses. James 4 and 9. Be afflicted and mourn and weep. Let your laughter be turned to mourning and your joy to heaviness. And like I said, that's what's happening. When the Lord destroys these pizzerias that people would hang out in, destroy these bars, these clubs, massage parlors, nail salons, barber shops, churches, places that people frequent and have frequented for many years, decades even. And then in just one night, it gets taken out. whether it's by a fire or whether the Lord sends a storm and the building gets flooded out, or the Lord, depending on, where the business is located, the Lord could send a tornado and it sweep through and destroy that business. Or if it's a powerful enough storm, maybe a tree will fall over onto the business and like crash through the roof of the business. And like I said, a lot of these are like small businesses, and they're like sitting in rows, like just right up next to each other. So in particular, when a fire happens, the fire just spreads from one to the next. Next thing you know, you got 5, 6 businesses just gone. And the people who owned those businesses or that business, now they got to figure something out. They got to see if what the insurance is going to do. And the insurance might not be enough to cover it. And like I said, when it comes to these type of small businesses, they usually the tenants, the people who own the business usually live above it. So you have the business on the bottom and then the apartments on the top. So those people not only lost their business, but they lost their home. So it was kind of a 2 birds, 1 stone kind of situation. And of course, the people who own the business and that, and their home, they're devastated because, like, that's how they made their money. That's how they made their living. And now they have nothing. They have no home. They have no job. Like, that's some scary stuff. But that's what the Lord is doing. The Lord is visiting Babylon. He's visiting America via a lot of heavy judgments. And these judgments are not going to stop happening. They're only going to become more frequent, more destructive, and more deadly. And a lot more people, especially the people who put their trust in this place and want to settle down here and start a family here and, establish something here. Those people are going to be left mourning and weeping because everything that they built up, the Lord is going to tear down. He's going to destroy because he plans on destroying all of America. The entire United States is going to be wiped off the face of the earth. So all of these businesses that people have built, none of that is going to exist anymore. And like I said earlier, that's why the men of the Lord are saying, stop trying to settle down here. Stop trying to establish things here. The Lord is about to destroy this place. You're supposed to detach from this place. Flee from this place. Spiritually, of course, because physically, we have to wait for the Lord to deliver us. But like spiritually flee from this place. Stop holding attachments to this place because it's quite literally about to go up in flame. But these wicked people, they're never going to learn. They're going to continue to want to hold on to this place. And so it's going to continue to hurt them when the Lord keeps destroying things that they've, grown up with and places they've frequented and all of that. When the Lord destroys these churches that, people have gotten married in, when the Lord destroys these hospitals that people have had their children in, or destroys a school that people have sent their kids to, or maybe they went to that school growing up and then they sent their kids to that school. A lot of people have a lot of emotional ties to this place. For for one reason or another. And the fact that the Lord is just destroying all of these things, it's hurting a lot of these people. See, those of us of the hopeful elect, we've already detached from this place. So, we can see certain places get wiped out and we'll be like, hey, well, that's the will of the Lord. It is what it is, because we want the kingdom. So, hey, as far as we're concerned, the Lord could wipe out all of it. We don't care. But that's not the same for these carnal people who are attached to this, who are still attached to this place. Isaiah 48:22. There is no peace, saith the Lord Yahweh, unto the wicked. And that's right. And this is what these wicked people want. These wicked people, they want, for the mall that they're used to hanging out at, that they, grew up going to. They want that to stay around. The pizzeria, the bars, the clubs, whatever hangout spots they had. They just want to go back to the way things used to be. Because at the end of the day, these people have gotten accustomed to the bread and circus. That's why Americans, for the most part, don't take anything seriously. Because America is just one big playground. That's why people have gotten so numb to all the violence. Because as soon as something bad happens and they focus on it, then, Esau will throw some type of entertainment their way. Whether it's a concert or, a new movie's coming out or a new TV show or a new video game or a new pair of sneakers or something. And these people, they're so simple-minded that they'll just completely forget the thing that they were just upset about, and they'll go buy that pair of sneakers, or they'll go to that movie or watch that TV show, or go to that concert or that new amusement park, or go hang out at that new bar that just opened. Like, people in America have the smallest attention span. Like, 1 minute they're focused on one thing, and then you snap your fingers and they've moved on to something else. And the whole world has recognized that, and they're constantly calling out Americans for just how, like, goldfish brain these people have. Like, their memory only lasts a couple of seconds. It's like 1 minute you're pissed off that there was a school shooting, and then the next minute you're talking about the newest movie that came out. It's like and that's part of why this place has to get destroyed, because the people don't really care about all the wickedness that has been done and continues to be done here. They act like they're upset when they get affected by it. But like I said, once Esau throws some bread and circus in their direction, they're like, well, I'll figure it out. And they stop being mad. They just settle for whatever. That's why Elder Malcolm likes to say that America is not the land of the free and the home of the brave. It's the land of the bend over and take it. Because that's what a lot of these people do. A lot of these people have no fight in them. Here it is. Esau is stripping everything away from you, and you have no fight. You're just sitting back and letting it happen. And so basically, the Lord, he's doing what you should do for you. He's wiping out everything. He's tearing it down. He's burning it down. And he's going to wipe out all of these wicked people right along with it. There is no going back to the way things used to be 10, 15, 20 plus years ago. You already been there, done that. That time has came and went. And now is the time for the destruction of America. the downfall of Esau and the downfall of all of these wicked people. Or all the rest of these wicked people, I should say. That's the time and season that we're in. There will be no peace. There will only be more chaos and miseries and destruction and death. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up here. In closing, I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Rakakudash, the Wadi Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, for putting the spirit on me to do this lesson. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Honors to all the brothers who are still fervently preaching the word in sincerity and in faith. Shalom to all the sincere Aqua, the sincere sisters, and to the scattered Israelites who are amongst these other nations and look like these other nations. I hope you all stay strong, stay safe, stay fervent, stay circumspect, stay prayed up, and Adawan Ratazah. Until next time, Shalom.